Hey guys, thanks for coming on to another one of these PMD production expert interviews where we sit down with folks from across the United States and internationally to talk to experts about how they're moving the needle forward in their industries. And today I have the pleasure of sitting down with Jeff Alexander. He's part of DUS, Diagnostic Ultrasound Systems, Sales, Services. I kind of want him to tie this in for me because the company is seeing growth. And before I do that, thanks, Jeff. Thanks for joining the conversation.
You're welcome. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, thanks. For the folks who don't know you, can you give me a little bit of brief about you and your company?
Sure. So I've been in this industry since the mid 80s. I started out in the medical equipment finance world, and then ultimately we sold our company back in 1994. Love the other side of the business. I love the equipment side of the business, the service side of the business, and thought that there'd be more of an opportunity eventually to take a company like this and grow it like we grew the finance business. But I wanted to do it a little bit differently than people had been doing it. I wanted to do it with an emphasis on service as opposed to just selling equipment. It was going to be a combination of both.
Hmm.
And that's where we have gravitated to, and that's where we're at today in our company life cycle.
So,
So it's a service company first, but we just happen to sell equipment at the same time.
perfect. So let's kind of zoom out. What's the
Sure.
mission that drives your company today?
So the vision is to internally, the vision is to have multiple access to different economic drivers. And that would be whether we're doing billable service, well, whether we're selling service contracts, whether we're doing rental agreements, or whether we're servicing equipment. All of that is the internal things that drive us on an economic scale. From a clinical applications perspective, that's something that we've really focused in on over the last couple of years. For example, if you go to a original equipment manufacturer, Philips, Siemens, GE, people like that, they generally will sell you a piece of equipment. They'll train you. Generally, it's 1 or 2 days of training, and then that's it. What I wanted to do was change the industry up a little bit and give people unlimited amount of training. Because I always felt that if we were able to continue to train them and let them learn the equipment, they would either be able to move us to another customer or continue to buy equipment from us, that there was something differentiating us from all the other people that they were currently doing business in. So, for example, you have a GE piece of equipment you've been trained on, your technicians have been trained on. A year later, you get a new technician, you're going to charge you 2,500 to 3,000 to bring in a professional clinical applications trainer. Ours is part of the original sale, period.
Yeah,
That's
that's
everything.
yeah, that's definitely a differentiating factor in the
Huge.
industry.
It's huge.
That
It's
is
huge. And
huge.
it's expensive on our end, to be honest with you. But we felt that by doing that, we would train the people how to use the equipment correctly. We would have less service calls because a lot of the service calls involve user issues. And also, it was just something specific to differentiate us from what people were trying to do. Most of these people think, oh, you just want to sell me equipment and be gone. Well, no, we're in your lives. We're in your lives as long as you want us to be. It's
Hmm.
not going to cost you money every single time. So that was a big part of it.
Yeah, I love that, and specifically when we're talking about vision for a company, right? So,
Yeah.
on that note, how do you see the role of diagnostic ultrasound evolving in both outpatient care and private practices?
Well, I mean, obviously the clinical piece is a big part of it, right?
Yep.
I think also as our evolution continues, I think we get a better feel and fix on what our customer issues are because we're constantly touching them. Once you sell up a piece of equipment for most companies, they're gone. You don't see them again. So I wanted to do everything we possibly could to be able to get our face in front of the customer, whether it be equipment sales, equipment service, ancillary products that might go along with their equipment, any of that. That's the vision that I have and that we have as a company.
Yeah, I could appreciate that. So let's bring this back to like the actual end user, their pain
Okay.
points
Their
plus
experience.
solutions,
Uh-huh.
ideal for service positioning for us, right? So what are the
Yes.
most common challenges you think healthcare providers face when it comes to ultrasound technology today, right? And how do you help them solve for their problems?
Generally speaking, there's two issues that they have. One, price, right?
Yep.
Keeping up with technology. And the second would be training and making sure they have the correct people using the equipment. Those
Yep.
are the two challenges that they have. Because sometimes I'll get a call and say, yeah, I'm looking for a new piece of equipment, but you're gonna have to help me get a technician as well. So we try to do both. And if they don't have a technician that knows the equipment, We're there to train them and reinforce that training so that they can get up and running day one once they acquire the equipment. Sometimes we're there with them, sometimes we do it virtually. Whatever it happens to be, that's the service that we provide. We also provide service in the event that there's the system goes down. Let's say their system goes down and they need service. So instead of them just taking the system out of service, repairing it, meanwhile they can't do any studies at that time, they're losing money. We one of the other things that we do as a company is we give them a loaner. We give them the same system loaner so that within a couple of hours, we can literally be at their site, give them a loaner, take their equipment back, and now we're repairing it without any economic damage to their business.
And I could appreciate that. I mean, we're talking about basically the end user service journey, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
walk us through that. What's the life cycle of working with DUS? For like from equipment selection to ongoing support.
Could be as long as you want to own the equipment. As
Mm,
long as you don't see that the new technology is going to change anything dramatically for you, whether it's image quality, whether it's the ability to build something a little bit different to make additional money from it, or a technology that changes how you actually view an image, right? For example, today with AI, in the past you've had to look for the focal zone to look and see, to make sure that the picture all the pixels are working properly so that you can see the image. Today, the machines do it all on their own.
yeah.
You don't have to play with the gain, you don't have to play with the focus. Everything is done for you automatically. So it depends on what you're looking for. I mean, I have guys that have equipment for 20 years and they want to keep it. Fine. You want to pay the service contract every single year? We're going to repair it. We're going to give you the same level of service that you've had before. That's fine too. We have people in both situations. What's happened in our industry overall is that equipment has come down in pricing because reimbursement has come down. So we've all had to, drop our prices. The manufacturers dropped. We've dropped in terms of service contract pricing, but we're still able to keep the system as long as they want. I mean, generally speaking, you're seeing people with equipment 10, 15 years is not unusual.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's kind of like zoom out because from your lens, someone who's been like using this technology and communicating this technology for decades now,
Right.
what excites you? Like what technologies or innovations are out there? I mean, we talked about AI. Is there something within AI or new technologies or someone else in industry that you're saying, yeah, they're doing it right and this is the direction we want to head?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we have sort of married ourselves with a company called Mindray.
Hmm.
They are the third largest ultrasound equipment manufacturer in the world. They're a Chinese company, although, it's a misnomer because all of these companies use Chinese products. I mean, whether they say it on the machine itself, or whether it's embedded in some of the parts that they have, or the probes that are manufactured, all of them involve some, some piece of equipment or some device that's being manufactured in China. So that's a big part of it too, right?
Let's go back to this life cycle thing and the
Yeah.
importance of training. How important is training and education for your clients, and how does support this aspect of your life?
Well, I can answer the second question first. The way that we support it is by giving them unlimited amount of training for no additional cost. What it does for them is it gives them a higher performance for each one of their technicians to know how to use the equipment properly. I can't tell you how many people we sell equipment to that are not interested in being trained. So I have a technician, they know the equipment, and all of a sudden we start getting phone calls for all the user errors that come about. So I think that they're going to be able to use their equipment more efficiently, and I think that they'll be faster. There'll be more throughput. I mean, there's everything about it is more positive when you add on the additional training, and they may be able to find disease that they couldn't be able to find before because they didn't know how to use the equipment properly.
Yep. Yep.
That's all part of it.
Mm, So then how do you maintain a high service standard across like a diverse group of clients in
Right.
clinical settings?
Not an easy thing to do.
I bet.
Not an easy thing to do. No, that's part of my job. That's part of my job. Well, it's building our clinical staff. That's really what it amounts to.
Yeah.
We have several clinical people that we currently use. We have one main one that works for us full time. So as we continue to roll out new equipment and different types of technologies that go along with this equipment, we're going to be adding on additional clinical applications people to be able to handle the amount of business that we foresee in the future.
Mm.
That'll be a
Uh,
big part of it.
Yeah, and you had mentioned like there, I mean, you've got customers that have been with you for some time. So
Oh
when
yeah.
it comes to like maybe talking about a few success stories that stand out to you, that
Hmm.
you know you made a measurable difference in their healthcare practices,
Right.
what comes to mind?
Yeah, a lot of it is performance.
Mm,
So we have one particular customer, a large cardiology group here in New Jersey, who was using some of the older GE portable products in all of their different offices. Um, Today, that particular customer, we replaced it with all these mind ray systems, and there is significant less downtime. The ease of use of the equipment is significantly better, and they're constantly being trained. So they
mm,
see a huge difference in the amount of patients they're going to be able to do per day, and the results that the reading physicians are getting from the product that that we're putting out there. So, yeah, it's a win-win for everybody.
hmm. All right,
You know?
let's kind of sum this up, right?
Yep.
Because I mean, I think you're painting a
Sure
really
is.
good picture about your company, your mission,
Yep.
and your vision. So looking ahead, right? So like where do you see this in the next 5 years, and how do you plan to lead in this industry?
I think we just do the things that we're continuing to do, is to bring in and train new engineers with that philosophy.
Yeah,
A lot of the engineers in the industry today only want to deal with the issues with the machine itself. Our engineers are trained to not only deal with and repair the system, but they're there to also repair the customer.
yeah,
It's talking about a customer who's upset, their equipment isn't working properly. They want to continue to do the things they're doing. They don't want to, turn patients away. So I think by continuing to build on that platform of service centered besides selling centered, I think that's the formula that really makes people feel more comfortable.
yeah,
That they know they're buying a piece of equipment where somebody's just not going to sell it and walk away, that we've already dealt with them in the past. They know how we work. And I think your question is how do we leverage all that in terms of
yep,
growth for the next 5 years?
yep,
Not an easy question to answer. I don't know. We got to make more of the current people that we have. I think the way that we do it is to have it, and I think it really is to have it embedded, inbred in the philosophy of everyone working for this company. And I'm the lead, so I'm the one it's gonna start from me in terms of how I feel about it. We're taking phone calls 24/7, where a lot of the new practices that are opening and even existing ones are now working 7 days a week. So we provide service 7 days a week. Nobody does that. You call any one of these companies at 501, they're done.
I'm sorry, can I interrupt?
Yeah,
Veterinary Heart wants to know, she said that she'll be en route to us. She'll be here at 4 o'clock. And she
today.
just wants to know if we're gonna be there.
I don't know who this is.
Robin Smith from Veterinary Heart Sound.
Oh, they're dropping off a piece of equipment. Yes, we believe.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
it's okay.
Yes.
Um,
Um, so I think, think about a product that you buy, right? You buy a product, it's an expensive product, you're going to want to utilize it. You want to make sure you're trained on it properly, and you want to get to make sure that the people you're buying it from are going to support it. A lot of people have doubts because there's so much of the negative side of this, right? Where
yeah,
people just sell them something and then you can't find them. Once the money is transferred, nobody's home. My philosophy is the complete opposite. How would I feel if I bought it? This is the way I want to be treated. And that's what I tell them, all of my folks, that think about it as if you purchased it. Even if it's not new, even if it's refurbished, and we do sell a lot of refurbished equipment, how does it look cosmetically? Is that because some people say it's not important as long as it works? Not really. Not really. It's really important how it looks cosmetically too. Um,
exactly.
and those are the things, it's little things. It's the way it's boxed. It's the way the wires are crimpled versus, coming in a nice organized fashion. Those are the kind of things that I think are really important as to what I would look for if I'm going to buy something.
Yeah, I mean, being detailed oriented as well as process driven are huge, and I mean, I think you're making a lot of sense. You made me actually think of something here. Um, if someone was just getting into this, right? What, let's just say like a clinician was just about to make a
Huge picture. That's
decision
all right.
to buy an ultrasound machine for the first time. What
Huh?
advice would you give them?
I would tell them they got to determine what their budget is, and then they have to look at several different manufacturers or several different models within that budget and get an idea. Maybe maybe look at something a little bit more expensive. Maybe it's something a little bit less expensive than your budget, and then you can make an educated decision as to what direction you think you want to go in. Like, for example, I just got a call from a cardiologist starting a practice in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia area. And she said, I heard about this one particular model. I really like it. Can we do a demonstration? I said, sure, we can do a demonstration, but I also want you to see, not because we want to charge you more money, but I really want you to see the difference between what I would recommend in a cardiology office and what you're asking me for. I'm good with either one, and both of them have been purchased by the cardiologist, but you really need to see it and make your own decision. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, especially when it comes to image quality. That's a big part of this. So, that's the kind of thing that's how I try to educate on the sales side of it. And then the service, they know we're here because someone will ask me, hey, post manufacturer warranty, what happens to the equipment? And then I go into, the unlimited training, the unlimited service, the loaners, and all those systems, so that we can keep you up and running, and you're not going to have to be concerned.
Sorry.
Excuse me.
So she's on the way here. She says she's 2 hours away, that there's hair or something in the system. She wants to know if she can stay here and wait for it to be serviced.
No, we have to order the equipment. The equipment's not here yet. The parts are not here yet. She's gonna have to leave it. Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay. So let's tie this up in a nice little bow.
Yep.
Jeff, thanks
Giving you enough information?
I've got plenty of information.
Okay,
Man.
good.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, is there anything that you think that you'd want to add to this?
I just want to make sure that we convey the commitment to the customer from start to finish. And it doesn't necessarily be from start, meaning that you buy something from us, but start whether we're servicing your equipment and you're a new customer for the first time, because we're taking on existing equipment that you currently have, or we're selling you equipment. Either way, I think the thing that's most important to convey is access to us and communication. A lot of times today, people only want to text. They only want to email. I'm old school. I want to talk to you on the phone. I want to talk. If you don't want to talk and you want to text and want me to text or email you, that's fine. But people like the fact that we are doing things in person, that you can call us, that there's a live person to speak to. Even the answering service is live, because I think that really differentiates us from all the other things other people are doing. Now, that does limit the ability to scale because you're using human beings and it's not just being transacted by computer. But I think I'd rather be that way.
Yeah. I mean, customer centric, putting the customer always first, being authentic, having a human touch. It's okay to have technology. We're all surrounded by that, but bring in the human touch. I think that's really important. And even growing into outbound messaging, when it comes to my world and the digital world, it's very important the messaging connects with the human being, whether that's via the email or a text message. So I'll make sure I'll stay in line with your message.
Yeah, I think that's really important because that, like I said, it's being in the ultrasound business on this level is a niche business, right? And I want all of it to be thought of that way, that we're different. We differentiate. This is the niche that we're in. This is the lane that we're in. And I find it makes a huge difference. And the customers have as much access to me as they have to anybody else in the company.
Perfect. I'll end it with that. Thank you, Jeff, for taking the time to meet with me today. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Vic.
And doing one of these expert interviews. And I always enjoy sitting down with folks who are leading in their industries and add value, and especially in the world of AI and technology, how they come across with a human touch in their services and their offers and their products. So thanks again for taking the time to meet with me today.
Thank you, Vic. I appreciate you.